was sold as an expert to the end user,
Yep.
but I'd never used this technology. So I'm there stressing out, learning this tool, some Googling, how do I go to university without paying?
Without paying. And things would just get thrown at me. So like one day I was in the office, director comes over and goes, oh, you know, D365 finance. And I was like, I was actually SCM at the time. I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, cool. On Tuesday, we need you to go to Monaco and you get some requirements from a client. It's like, sick.
I was very comfortable.
Going through the motions.
Yeah, but to be successful, you're not comfortable. For me, that's how I measure it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Transformation Talks with Akadis Global, where we talk about all things digital transformation, AI and ERP. Today we have a very special guest. He's a 3 times Microsoft MVP. He is a global partner and shareholder with Signaps, who specialize in a big piece of AI, of the AI world, which is AI agents, amongst other things. So I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself in a moment and tell us all about that. But we're in for an exciting episode today because he's also had an incredible entrepreneurial journey as well within the digital transformation space, which I'm looking forward to hearing more about. So, Charlie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. So my name's Charlie Phipps-Bennett, 28 years old, and as you said, Global Delivery Director at Signaps. Signaps is based in 2 countries at the moment.
Okay.
In India, we've got an office in Bangalore, and expanding another 2 offices this year. And we've got an office in Aldgate in London, in the UK, with plans for expansion into both US and UAE next year.
Incredible.
Which is exciting.
Wow.
As you said, Microsoft MVP as well, so I wear that proudly on my chest.
That's actually a big deal, and I think let's get started and jump into it. Like, just explain to the audience what it means to be a 3 times Microsoft MVP. I know some people may have seen it on in LinkedIn bio. So yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah. So firstly, MVP stands for Most Valuable Professional. It is quite prestigious. You get rewarded it by Microsoft. So only people who are currently a Microsoft MVP or an employee can actually nominate you, and you go through a process. So I am a MVP for automation and apps. It's called the Biz App space. Yeah. That's where my specialisms have always been. Recently moving more into the AI world, which is exciting. But it means that I get early access to new technology, new products that Microsoft are working on, can provide feedback, go to special events. So lucky enough to be selected to speak at the biggest Power Platform conference in the world in Vegas, next month. Yeah.
Wow. That's going to be a huge event, and like I say, it's the biggest one of the biggest in our industries anyway. So to be invited to speak there, what topic are you going to be covering there? You know yet?
Yeah, so I'm covering approvals inside the digital transformation, but specifically the different types of automation around approvals. So whether that's a classic example is I've got a timesheet, I want to send in my timesheet, you're my boss, can you approve it? To the most complex, where I automatically send out contracts and receive digital signatures and then carry out some automation off the back of that.
Oh, excellent. So how did you start your journey within the world of Microsoft? What was you doing initially to bring you to this point?
Okay, so when I left college, I went to college because exams didn't work for me. So I did actually originally study A levels in school. Didn't do very well in the first year. I got 2 passes and 2 fails, which meant resitting another year.
Yeah, as it does.
So that wasn't happening. So I went to college. My mum said, you're pretty good at IT, son. Go and have a go at that. So I went to college. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed the course and, the different learning style. Rather than exams, it was more coursework, hands-on, really working on producing a great portfolio and examined over that period of time. Yeah. So that worked for me. Then decided I wanted to go to university, but funny enough, couldn't afford to go to university at the time. And my family had already supported 2 people So there wasn't that sort of availability to go to university.
Okay.
So I just did some Googling, how do I go to university without paying?
Without paying.
And essentially in the UK, I stumbled across sponsored degrees.
Okay.
So I actually ended up having a sponsored degree. So I went to work 4 days a week, university 1 day a week, but completed the degree within the standard 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Which was fantastic, but probably the hardest time, when you're doing a degree alongside work. So to answer your question, I started in sort of as a test analyst, right from the bottom in space and defence at the time. So actually it was a really cool project. It was the European GPS system I was working on. So that was really cool. Worked my way up as an automation tester, test team lead. Then Brexit came along and the UK was seen as a security threat. So that project got shipped away. Right. So that was my opportunity to then go into sort of software engineering rather than the testing, really. So that's where I went and learned Java, went on a sort of hardcore Java course. Okay. Loved it, but realized that I didn't want to be a hardcore dev. I enjoy the consultancy. I enjoy speaking to customers, really understanding their problem and solving their problems. Right. So that's when I joined a consultancy, and that consultancy happened to be a Microsoft partner.
Okay, nice, excellent. So it's weird, actually. There's lots of similarities in our journeys because I started as a tester as well.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I started as a tester on the Aston Martin project in Gaydon in Warwickshire.
That's so cool.
And the solution I happened to be testing at the time was Microsoft Dynamics AX.
Right,
yes. So that just started my journey into the world of implementation. So yeah, crazy that how there's similarities there. But it makes sense. You go that testing route, and unless you've really got the bug to be a developer and a hardcore coder, and if it's the business engagement side you like, you go and work for a tier 1 consultancy firm, which I did the same thing. So you've taken that journey. Yep. You've now moved into the software engineering space. You're working with a partner. What are you doing with the partner, and what's the next steps look like for you after that?
Yeah. Okay. So I did start doing that for sort of 2-3 years, working with this consultancy, and as a Microsoft partner, it was a very weird time because I was kind of thrown in the deep end. It was just pre-COVID, but I was sold as an expert to the end user. Yep. But I'd never used this technology, so I'm there stressing out learning this tools. But that's when I realized how cool the Microsoft community is, and actually how supportive it was compared to sort of being a developer in a cupboard. I was actually being a consultant, and I'd have mentors, and there was plenty of blogs, there was plenty of podcasts, there was plenty of forums, plenty of YouTube channels. So I had everything there just to actually go and learn. Yeah. I just needed to dedicate some time to it. So I did that, and I kept getting thrown in the deep end, but actually, I look back and I go, my manager was fantastic to do that, because it didn't matter if it was a financial client, if it was retail, construction. He was giving me all the exposure to how this technology can fit into multiple industries. Yeah. And we went from there.
Nice, amazing. Yeah. So it's we're giving away partner secrets here, because all partners do the same thing. I had the same experience when I went to work for a partner. You get thrown into these projects, and you get to client site and it's just you. Yes. And the client is looking at you for the answers, and you're like, I don't always have the answers, but it's the best way to learn.
Yes.
And it's the best way to get that first-hand learning of, because you'll know this, you're with the partner, and they will train you, and you will do loads of learning about the solution, and you'll understand all aspects of the solution. But when you're in front of the client, that's where you learn actual application of the solution, and how to identify the right solution for different problems. So getting thrown in the deep end can be a bit unnerving, but actually it's the best way to learn, and it's the fastest way to grow, as you've shown, because as we now build up through your career now. So you've worked with a partner, you've gained all this experience, and you're part of the Microsoft community at this point. Yes. How does this now get you to the point where you are starting up your own company, which then goes on to be acquired?
Okay, so I then worked for another partner. I decided that I wanted to work for another consultancy because at this point in my career, I'd worked for a very, very large organization, sort of based in 56 countries, thousands and thousands of employees, to working for sort of a medium-sized scale-up organization. So I then said I want to give myself exposure to actually working for a startup. So I left that organization to go and join a startup, which was just based in Scotland, actually, in Glasgow. Fully remote job. It was COVID. All quite crazy moves. Yeah. But it was fantastic. It was actually a female-led tech company, which was super powering. It was really powerful, but built great connections with the ladies that ran that business. They were very supportive of my community contributions. And essentially they had built a couple of businesses themselves in the Microsoft ecosystem and learned that it's all about that people connection. You can be very good at your job, but inside the Microsoft ecosystem, even as a new business and trying to become a Microsoft partner, when I went through those days, I realized it's not what you know, it's who you know in that ecosystem. There's a set criteria and I've ticked all those boxes, but I'm still not a Microsoft partner. Why not? Okay, you need to know the right routes. So I did that for about 2 years. That business then got bought out. I stayed with the business during the sale, but unfortunately it didn't work for me. It changed hands. It wasn't the right environment for me. It didn't feel like I could continue to grow. I had a lot more to give. A lot more to give. And I knew that I was just there working on a very good salary and I was very comfortable.
Going through the motions.
Yeah, but to be successful, you're not comfortable. For me, that's how I measure. Absolutely. If I'm sat there working 9 to 5, day in, day out, and not really using my brain or not being challenged, I was like, we changed something. And it's the craziest thing. You can ask my wife. We were just about to get married. And I said, I've handed in my notice. And she was like, you've done what? And she was like, what about the wedding? Like, we've got to pay for the wedding. And I was like, just going to go out on my own. I'm just going to contract. And we just bought the house. So I just got a mortgage. So financially, it was really probably a silly thing to do.
But you really wanted to make yourself uncomfortable, right? When you're uncomfortable, especially with entrepreneurs, that moment and period of where you're uncomfortable is usually where you grow, innovation comes, and you do more than you believed you could do, and take things to the next level. So you really made yourself uncomfortable though with the new house and the wedding coming up. But fair play to you. Yeah, no,
it was uncomfortable, but I knew I kind of already had a plan. I just hadn't really worked out how to execute that plan.
Right.
So I knew that I'd go into contracting, but my business partner at the time for that business, he was also into contracting. And I said, I reckon we can make this work, but we'll go out and get our contracts. And it was only at the point where I started getting multiple contracts in multiple time zones and realizing, very similar to what you've said previously, turning down contacts. There's only so many contracts I can take at once. Again, giving away another secret. It's not, normally contractors work more than one job, right? We're efficient. We make sure we make it work. So that was tough. And then I realized, actually, I've got an opportunity here. So we just set up our small business at the time. It was good. Got some really good clients, which actually some clients followed from previous engagements that we've had. So, got back in touch, heard you went out on your own. I've got some work, really, really cool. It was people giving them the right opportunities. And because by that point I was so in bed with the Microsoft community, I had so many people's support. Amazing. Left, right and center, whether it was business, whether it was tech, whether it was legal documents, advice, the amount of support and love to watch someone be successful was fantastic. So we did that. And then I was working for a company, through my business there with my client. And essentially I looked at them, they looked at me, and I was like, hold up, you guys are about 3.5 years ahead of where I want to be.
Right.
but you're using my services. So I want what you've got, but you need me at the moment. So worked for them for about 8 months, and it was only to the point where they're like, this is getting a bit silly. We know we need you. We're paying good money. So that's when actually they put their cards on the table and said, we would love to go for a merger and acquisition.
Amazing.
Which was obviously a hard call, right? Because in my head, it was two things going on. It was, could I do this on my own and prove it? Or could I contribute to someone who's doing it, but they've already quite well established? They've gone through the hard work, but there's a lot more hardship to come. But they were 3 years ahead. And I knew that they'd done things how I would want to do things because I'd worked with them for 8 months, which was actually quite nice that they were my client first.
So it's basically you had 8 months of due diligence that you were able to do sort of on the ground without them sort of knowing that's what you're doing. Not that you probably knew you were doing that either, but it's a great way to get to know your partner. And interesting to hear you say that, obviously it's not the easiest decision to make because you have this thing which you've built, it's your baby. With a merger and acquisition, there's a change to your organization structure now because it's no longer your thing. You're part of the whole. Did you ever have any concerns around that as to sort of how it's going to run, your influence and?
Massively, but actually, I trusted the two people who owned this business. So Andrew and Matt, they both own Signaps' original co-founders. Ex-Accenture. So I knew that they had very good experience. They understood processes. They had already set up the India entity through their contacts back in Accenture days. So I knew that they could be trusted. And it got to the point, actually, I built such trust that the merge has taken 15 months to go through, and I've still treated it like it's my business. And, everything's been built off trust. So,
that's really good.
Not being a shareholder for 15 months is actually tough. But, equally, when I'm spending weekends with their children, there's that level of trust, there's that love, So,
there's a partnership there.
There's a strong partnership. But so getting to know them made the decision easier, but it was very difficult times, and it's been even harder, I think, since, because actually now we're all on this page and we're going through this journey of where we want to build a business. The amount of strain that's taken on sort of personal life and relationships and things like that. You put a lot of work into a business. You probably know.
It's night and day. It's nonstop. And even when you're not working, you're thinking about the next steps. And I think again, just crazy similarities in what we're doing. And so with my consultancy, we haven't gone the route of sort of partnering with someone, and we've just continued to, I've kept it my baby, if you like, and grown it that way. But then, I know there's going to come a point where I'll need to, either merge with someone to take to the next level or go through that acquisition process. But like you say, there's different ways to go about it. And I think the way you've gone about it is amazing because you was already in with your partners, working for them, and they were your clients, so you got to see the ins and outs of it before you got into bed with them. So that's amazing. And you've gone through the 15-month journey of the acquisition, but your company effectively has been acquired, and all of this, if you don't mind me saying, by the age of 28.
28, yes.
So that's very impressive for someone who, what was it, 2 passes in NFL AS levels?
2 passes, 2 fails.
Right? Yeah. So that's just to show to everyone there's so many different ways and so many different approaches to take life. So I intentionally asked those questions because I really thought it'd be a great piece for everyone to hear your journey and just see where you are today. And this is still only the beginning, right? Now the growth really, really starts. And the company is Signaps. Yep. So in your own words, just describe for me and the listeners what the mission is of Signaps. What are the problems you're solving in today's world and in digital transformation space?
Okay. So it's kind of two answers really, because it's what Signaps has been known for and where we are getting to be known for. So what's our mission? So we are a consultancy, a Microsoft partner. So predominantly we use Microsoft technology with a mindset of low code first.
Yeah.
So making it maintainable, that's the future of the digital transformation, allowing customers to eventually bring this capability in-house and support them, train them, build up their teams. So when we're building up their softwares that run their business, they can also maintain it themselves as well.
Absolutely.
However, I would say 78 to 80% of our pipeline now is huge data transformations, and AI is where the industry's going. We are industry agnostic, so it doesn't matter what sector you work in, we deliver, but it's taking people on a journey from sort of automation into, okay, let's get your data into one place so we can put some AI on top and actually get some learnings. I always find it funny when a customer comes to me and says, Charlie, I want AI. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still using Excel spreadsheets to run your business.
Yeah.
So how do you want me to give you AI?
You're a few steps behind where you need to be.
So really bringing people on that journey, that transformation, digital transformation, whether it's paperless, paperlight, then it's taking them from their Excel access days to actually let's get a fully fleshed data warehouse in place. Let's make sure we've got the right modeling. And then on top of that data, that's where we build cool automations. That's where we build AI agents or chatbots. That's where we can do some data insights, so data dashboards, etc. And that's where we're known.
Okay. So that I'm starting to get a picture now of the application of your solutions. And I mean, the area you're speaking about around data transformation in particular is huge, because every implementation project we face, data transformation is a piece of it. And it's actually a parallel running, ideally, it's a parallel running activity that happens alongside the ERP implementation and configuration. And then eventually the two paths cross and they become one solution. So to hear that this is what you guys are doing is music to my ears, because oftentimes you want to just point your client in the direction of a company. We do bits of data migration, but nothing to the extent you guys are doing. And you want to point your clients in the direction of a company that can do that, because the technology is available today. It's not only readily available, but as you say, it's low code these days. So you just need to bring a team in, put the data warehouse in place, and it's self-service typically, I assume, is the approach you take as well. So the client can go in and use that data any which way they want, sort of following your implementation, which is what we try and push all our clients to.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I think the data can tell such a story for many businesses. I've seen huge cost savings from actually understanding your data, how a business can run. There was a crazy delivery service, like a delivery company, a courier, and I remember their data platform, you could tell that actually by moving one of the courier drop-offs from this place to 6 meters down here, they would actually be saving thousands and thousands of money.
Wow.
And the data told that story. And when my friend was telling me, because he worked on it, I was like, that's crazy. But it made so much sense, because it was all that time walkers were going like this to pack the lorries. But actually just by moving that lorry there, you saved that much time. They worked out how long it took to load the vehicle when it was parked here versus here. And all of that is cost saving time, money. So yeah, data can be massive. We're seeing a massive transformation. Whether it's legal sector, I notice that a lot of legal sectors I work with, they're still very paper heavy. So even considering paper light or hopefully paperless would be the first thing. But again, construction company, I see very heavy use of Excel, and other types of services like that, or access or legacy systems, on-prem systems. So it's how do we take them through the cloud transformation, and also how do we support their current legacy systems if they have some, and just bringing them on this journey ready for this magical 2 words of AI.
So there you go. You have AI,
Yeah.
and so I get the same thing. And so a big thing for me at the moment is in our space, AI is being introduced, and it's in different aspects and facets, and it's now inbuilt. So we work specifically with Dynamics 365, finance, supply chain, CRM, project accounting. So now Copilot's inbuilt, right? So you're getting these Copilot summaries, and I promise you, the users are not even looking at it. I've had one user ask to remove the little summary tab, and I'm like, why would you do that? They're like, oh no, but the information in there doesn't help me. It's like, well, that means the data in the system isn't in the right condition, or it's not correct. So I think as much as AI is good, and you mentioned it earlier, I think we're still at the point on our side where we're getting businesses through the transformation process of not only their data but their business process, so that they can get the best out of the system and they can get the best out of these solutions. But then it leads me to think about something. If you do have a client who has the appetite to introduce AI, whether it's in data reporting or in system, what is typically, from your point of view, what would be the low-hanging fruit for a company? Where would you point them to first to introduce them to using AI and get them used to it, and where they might see the quickest ROI?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And actually, I recently partnered with a company called I Want More AI.
Okay.
And the reason being, they were ex-Microsoft guys.
Right.
3 of them left recently, set up their own business.
Okay.
And again, great connection. So we got talking, and we end up being their delivery arm. But what they're fantastic at doing is exactly what you just said. How do I recognize that this business is ready to go on this journey?
Yeah.
And if not, what journey should I take them on? So what we typically do in its simplest term is go into a business, understand all inefficiencies of processes.
Right.
What stories are you trying to tell? Or, why are you considering AI in the first place? Now, at the moment, when we're going through this journey, a lot of the times we find out, okay, from doing this, actually this person needs a data platform.
Right.
But sometimes what they class as AI is actually handled with simple automations like Power Automate, or sometimes calling Power Automate out to an Azure function where you use custom code.
Right. Okay.
It's very rare that we're having to actually use sort of large language models and do that AI transformation. So I think it's that use case extraction, but to do that use case extraction, there's a full consultancy piece of, okay, let's understand your business process, how you operate. Let's interview different personas that work with this part of the process.
Yeah.
Let's identify what their problems are, because ultimately you're trying to use technology to solve either your problems, save money, save time, or make something more efficient. So we need to understand all of that before then we recognize. I think anyone who has a data platform already, or they've started building some Power BI reports, or they've got some automation, or they've got an app idea and they're putting data into the front end, they've got an ERP, they've got a CRM, they're the perfect clients to start thinking about their AI journey.
Okay.
And, what do we mean by AI? Are we talking around agents that can sort of automatically respond and learn and train over time based on the knowledge base that you build and you provide?
Yeah.
Or is it something else? Is it AI generated summaries off my data and automatically building me reports and sending them out to the CFO? What does this journey look like?
Okay. No, that's amazing. And I think that's the perfect place to start. And just as you were talking it made me think actually that even in our business, and I'm sure you don't just have end user clients reaching out to you, you probably have other consultancies and advisories, because again, we do that piece for our clients as part of the implementation journey, right? We understand their use cases, their stories, their pain points, and then we design a solution for them. But I think where we identify the solution is the need for, like I say, a Power Automate, an AI agent or something like that, then that's where companies like Signaps can be engaged, because then they can help bring that company along quite a lot quicker. You mentioned AI agents a moment ago. Just high level, in the simplest way, just explain what an AI agent is and the sort of tasks it can help with in relation to an organization and their digital transformation and their day-to-day business.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I'm going to try and explain it in its simplest term. You've probably been on a website before and you've typically been greeted with a chatbot service. Now, usually that's you ask a question or the chatbot asks a question and you give it an answer. And it's very much sort of Q&A. Where the business or the industry, should I say, is going is we're going down the agent route, where actually this automation, this chat service is acting on behalf of a human and learning over time based on the knowledge that you provide. So based on the types of questions you're asking, the trend, the information that you feed it, whether that's from a data warehouse or different knowledge sources that you might have with insight internally. That could be Excel spreadsheets, that could be, I call it structured and unstructured data. So structured data being files, structured data being a database, unstructured data being sort of files and reading from these files.
Yeah.
So, a great example of a WhatsApp AI agent that we've built very recently. A gentleman has 25 properties, student properties. Okay. He is fed up of students messaging him late at night saying, what day does the bins go out? Or I've got this error code on my dishwasher. What does it mean? The light bulb's not working, the switch isn't working. Rather than him now responding to them, our agent is responding to them directly in WhatsApp. So they're starting to chat, and it still very much feels like they're talking to the landlord. And all that's doing is calling to Copilot Studios, which is a service that sits within inside the Power Platform. And then it's calling out to you as your web communicator so that we can go to Copilot and learn from the large language models that come out of the box with Copilot. And then we've also built our own knowledge base in the Copilot Studio. So we've pointed it at this particular council for its bins and that sort of information, learning from that. And then there's a couple of other things there that, building that knowledge base as well as using the large language models.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's an excellent use case. Can imagine the landlord must have been pleased once that's up and running, because he saved himself a lot of time there. And it's actually, so it speaks to something I've had a thought about, which we are in the process of sort of planning out and creating material for. From a Dynamics 365 point of view and ERP implementations, I think one of the challenges we face at times is we configure this solution. It's based on the out-of-box solution for the most part, but every company will have their own nuance, will have their own particular processes within there and their own steps and the order in which they do certain things. And we've been looking at recently how we can use things like AI agents as a way to help the users during training them, but also after the fact. And more ask and response agents where, you can say, I'm trying to do this particular thing. How do I go about it? And then have the AI agent working. I've seen one iteration of it working that a client that we're currently working with, they've implemented, but it's largely dependent on the documents we put in, which I think you said is unstructured, right?
Yes.
So, and those responses therefore might be limited if they're not asking the right question.
Correct.
So, I'll most likely be reaching out to you to figure out how we can fine tune that, because I think that's a big pain point for us. And actually, there's a lot of time that can be saved on a project if you have this in place, and if you can almost automate the training process, and you can have troubleshooting version of this solution, but you can also have a training version of it where the person comes in and says, I work in this area, and then they just get a course in front of them.
Yeah. And, the way you're explaining your data warehouse here, typically we use medallion architecture. So think of it as bronze, silver, gold. Bronze layer is where we're throwing all of your data in,
Right.
your unstructured and your structured data. Silver layer is where you're doing your transformations to that data. So that's where you're modeling it and you're making it useful for your sort of insights, or your feeding your agents or your apps or your automation. And then your gold layer is your live layer, that, production. So yeah, it'd be interesting to work with you on your bronze and your silver layer there.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for that. We're going to have many conversations after this anyway around this, I'm sure, and we could talk about this for ages. But before we sort of get to the end, I think it'd be good for our listeners as well, just to understand what's coming with Signaps.
Yeah.
What's coming with yourself? What's coming with Charlie as well? I know you mentioned the speaking engagement. Also, how to reach you if they do want to find out more about what you do.
Okay, perfect. So what's coming for Signaps? We've just bought our .com domain. We've done the transformation. We are looking to open and get a bigger client base in the US.
Okay.
So we're really focusing on that from a marketing perspective, whilst we continue to serve predominantly UK-based clients at the moment. Okay. Expansion, a lot of expansion. So both in India, we will open in US, but we have aspirations to be in the UAE, specifically Dubai, actually. I think one of my business partners actually wants to move here, to live here. So it's part of his journey as well. Well, yeah. I'm kind of loving it the more I spend time here. But so, that's with Signups. It's all about expansion, natural growth. At the moment, it has been natural growth. So, even though we've got 12, 15 open roles, there's 52 employees over the sort of 3-year journey that Signups has been on. It is all natural out of our own money. So, don't know what the journey looks like for Signups, but we continue to work with partners. That's how a lot of the business is coming through. That's how it's supporting our expansion and working as delivery arms for partners. Okay. So as you said, we don't just work with end clients, we work with other consultancies as well to help them on that journey. So there will be an exit plan at some point for me, but at 28 I probably don't have to worry about that just yet.
You've got a road ahead.
Yeah. And I think the next thing for me, I'm always being creative. I've actually got another sort of business idea that I'm trying to look into. Okay. Being a big sports fan myself, I really want to open gyms in airports, but post security, because I spend a lot of time in airports, and I, rather than sit there and scroll on my phone or drink a beer, I would love to be able to go to the gym and have a shower before the flight. So. Who knows? If that ever becomes a thing, you can think of me.
I was gonna say, the next time I see a gym in the airport, I'm gonna think, oh my god, Charlie did it, amazing.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But I've got a couple of ideas. So I think for me personally, it's just continue to make my family proud. I tell my mother everything I'm doing is for her. Yeah. So she took her chance on me. I was actually adopted when I was younger.
Oh, amazing.
So the fact that she took that chance, I'm always working hard, So any sort of ideas I get like that, I'll just keep pursuing. But for now, my focus is the tech business, serving customers, with a smile on my face and expanding, even through the tough times. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I would say if anyone wants to reach out to me, probably the best bet is LinkedIn. Okay. So I'm very vocal on LinkedIn. That's where I post a lot of my events. I also organise my own events. Okay. So I actually own like a Power Platform user group in Scotland, even though I live at the bottom of the UK. Crazy. That's another story. Yeah. But and then I speak all around the world. I've spoken in Norway. I'm speaking in Vegas, as you said. So. Okay. A lot of events coming up that I speak at, and I occasionally blog and participate in forums and podcasts, etc. So LinkedIn's probably the best place.
Okay, excellent. Well, Charlie, I look forward to hearing loads more about you through your speaking engagements. I'm going to be following the Signaps journey closely. Like I said, we'll be speaking because there's many things we can work on, and we're going to work on things in the future. So looking forward to that. But thank you for joining the podcast today. It's been great speaking to you, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good job, mate. That's good. Did
I
well.
actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
it. I've got so much that I feel like we've got a lot in common that we can talk about there.
Mate, we've got like it's a mirror journey completely.